Hello there, Outliers. It is Niiamah Ashong. I want to thank you so much for letting me be a part of your journey. That did not rhyme, and I'm sticking with it. Booyah. Hey, yo, Niiamah Ashong here, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of your journey. I say me, but like I know already, it isn't just about me. It is about all of us. And we have a cool panel of outliers here for you today on the Outliers Edge Roundtable. I want to give you all a chance to get to know them and hear about the game that they are playing, and we'll grow on from this. And outliers, as you've come to see here, this is not a conversation just to consume. This is a conversation to help provoke your thinking by sitting here and seeing how other people are thinking. Right. So throughout the conversation, take notes, ask yourself questions. I might be asking questions of our esteemed guests here today, but like see what your answers would be, and use that to help you move forward in your day and in your life today. We're going to get started. I want you to get to know him. So we're going to start off with David, and then we're going to go to Amber. David, would you mind sharing with us a bit about you and the game that you are currently playing?
I like the framing, the game that I am playing.
Hmm.
I actually don't think about my work in that way. I like that. The game I'm playing is to entice middle-aged men into a uh, soulful adventure. You know, a lot of men in midlife kind of go through a reckoning. Marriages fall apart, careers don't feel as satisfying anymore. And I see that as the right place for a deepening, a kind of a soul reckoning. So my game is to invite men into seeing it as a soulful adventure, and instead of something to medicate or run away from. And yeah, that's that's what I do in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, I like a soulful adventure actually sounds quite yeah, it just sounds like a really wonderful invitation. I actually really love that. And there's also that component of invitation. I get just even through your language how you choose to see your world. I might use the word game and you using the word invite. Like I get that you're the way you play. I'm excited to find out more, David.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
awesome.
man.
Let's go to Amber and then we'll go to Candy.
Hello, everyone. So, my name is Amber, as you've just introduced me, and I'm a 22-year-old abstract artist and also an exhibition curator. And I'm based in York, which is in the UK. Um, and the game I'm playing, as an artist, I'm currently finding the ground between creating authentic art and simultaneously navigating the business aspect of it, because the business aspect of it is fairly new to me, because I only opened my website up last August. So it's new ground to me, but it's all exciting, and I'm excited to learn from everyone here as well. So that's about me.
Well, thank you so much, Amber, and I'm excited to explore and see how you keep growing, how you're looking at your business, and for us to be sharing how we're going about growing things in a way that has found the ground that works for us, the foundations and beyond.
Yeah.
All right, Candy, love to get to know you and the game you're playing.
Hi, I'm Candy, and I like to call my game minding your own business.
Mm.
I find too many people are always in someone else's business while their business falls neglected. They tend to try to control others while not having control of themselves. Um, I am more so an introvert extrovert where I watch people and I observe their behaviors, and that's how I develop who I am because I found that I am the person that says, but that's not your business. Why are you so concerned with somebody else's business? And as a psychologist, when I was working as a psychologist, I found that people don't love themselves consciously. They're always looking outside of themselves for love because they've been programmed subconsciously to look for love. Ever since they've been a child, they've been told to tell somebody that they love them, but they've never actually learned how to love themselves. So that's why I teach people how to mind your business so that you can learn how to mind your business and take care of your business so you're not worried about other people's business.
You know, when you say it, Candy, it seems so simple. You know, like there's some component of this is like, oh yeah, it's simple. Uh there's a lot of wisdom in here, and just outliers. I'm gonna ask you. Candy's brought in this question here. I'm like, where are you not minding your own business here? Candy, I'm excited to see how that ends up playing out in this conversation, and to see how you keep owning that throughout. Thank you. I want to start off here with the question around your beliefs. And we're here as outliers. They're high performing leaders, high performing entrepreneurs, and you're creating something that's different. Right? And I'm curious about a belief that you had to let go of in order to create the level of success that you have right now. And you might be like, hey, I let go of that a while ago, but here's the belief that I'm working on right now that I believe that I think will help unlock whatever comes next for me. I'd love for you to be able to speak about that belief, and then and take us to a time where like how you came to find like, oh, this was what was important about it for me. Does anyone have does that firstly does that question resonate? Does it make sense what I'm asking? All right,
Yeah. I mean, if I could take a stab at it,
please,
the
Candy.
thing that I let go was religion. I had to let religion go because when I was involved in religion, I wasn't myself. I was somebody else. I was being created, or I was being tailored, programmed. That's the word. I was being programmed to be somebody else's idea of me. But it wasn't me, because everything that I wanted went against what was right. I looked at the Luke 17:21. It told me the kingdom of God is within me. So I'm asking myself, why do you look outside of yourself if everything is already inside of you? There's nothing you're lacking if it's already inside of you. So I had to let go religion and the beliefs, the indoctrination that was put upon me by my mother and her mother and everybody else. I had to find my own path, because I realized, wide is the gate that leads to destruction. Why would I go through the door that everybody else is walking through? There's only one me. I can only be me. I can't be everybody else. And nobody can be me because I'm the original. So I had to let go of religion.
Candy, as you say this, especially the last part you said, it took me to something someone told me once. He said, "You are wanted in eternity existence." A wanted in eternity existence. You take me to that there. Thank you, Candy. Thank you for bringing it out here. David, how about you? What's something you had to let go? What's a really feel you had to let go of in order to get to where you are right now?
Wow. Candy, I'm just struck first by what you just said. And the world is always trying to shape us, whether it's religion or society or politics or whatever it is. Um, for me, mine is kind of maybe not the opposite, but a counterpoint to yours. As a man, I came to Canada as a refugee, and we moved around a lot, and I learned to be very self-reliant. For me, letting go of, at this stage in my career, letting go of thinking I need to figure this out on my own, that I have to come up with the answers, and I have to know what's next. The more I let go of that, the more I realize my biggest dreams, in my business, in my work, and my purpose all have to do with collaborating with other people. They're all things that I cannot accomplish on my own. So I have to risk trusting other people, involving other people to co-create with me. Um, my main focus is on building long-term community. That's not something one person can create. That takes many hands, and many hands over many months and years and decades,
You coming in? You gonna
Yeah.
come in?
Yeah, thank you for that. That was if you heard that outliers, because you'll find this with me, David. I'm going to respond to you, but I also want to put this in. I don't edit my conversations because I like people to see like this is like the reality of it all, and if you can
Yeah.
be messy and still move forward, how do you go?
Sure.
So outliers, given that that was we just had an unmuted mic along the way. That was that. David, there's something here. Like I'm gonna have a whole set of questions based on what you just put into our space. So I appreciate you. Thank you for bringing that into the space there. All right, awesome. All right, and Amber.
Yes, so it's interesting because if you brought up beliefs, I would have thought you would have asked what my kind of core beliefs are. So this is challenging for me that you're asking what belief I've had to let go of. And I've just been listening to both of your answers. I'm really inspired, and I think what I've personally had to let go of was the belief that I knew everything and that my truth related to everyone else's truth. And then in exchange for that, I had to become less defensive, listen more to the world and other people, become more fluid and flexible and open, and kind of more cognizant of the fact that, like I said, my belief system are not the ultimate truth. And an example of this, so when I first started doing my abstract painting and following my own destiny, because it's quite different, I received a little bit of criticism from people because they didn't understand what I was doing. And at first I couldn't get my head around why they didn't understand what I was doing because I was so passionate about it. And I think that kind of forced me to realize, okay, that their experiences lead them to have certain preferences and dispreferences, and that's okay. And they're not wrong. I'm not wrong. They're not right. I'm not right. And we're all just living in our own truths. And that's absolutely perfect. So
No, I appreciate this, Amber, as you're talking because I can't wait to see more of your art. Like I'm thinking about I'm just
yeah.
trying to like picture this myself there. So
Yeah.
the Outliers, check out Amber, check out her work there. I feel like um I just really curious and excited about that expression of you. Thank you all. I'm glad that like I'd like to start off the first question to make sure everyone gets a chance to respond to it, so the Outliers get a chance to hear you, get to know you. And now we're just gonna play. We're just gonna play here, and see. So you might answer something, you may not. Let's see what pops off. All right. Uh, Talking about things popping off, David, you said something that got me that perked my ears up, which was around collaborating with other people. Talk about letting go and like, figuring on your own. And you talked about like at this stage for you to play a bigger game, it really comes down to collaboration. And so I'm really curious for y'all because I've been doing collaborating for a while, and sometimes, to be honest, it can be really disappointing. I'm like, okay, we quote unquote collaborated, but it kind of didn't feel like either like we both brought our all about our A game, and sometimes I've been on like the didn't bring my A game self, so I can't say that to be honest. And other times it's like, for as much work as this was, it ended up being more of a distraction than a true collaboration, co-creation, so on and so forth. So I'm curious for you, David, like what are some of the things that you look for in collaborators, and what makes like a real co-creative or collaborative experience feel like it's like hit that level of like, yeah, this is an outlier collaboration.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about what Candy said too about the religion thing, right? Like, um, for me, I'm trying as I get older to be discerning. So there are different types of collaboration. There are ways to be just allies. I like your work over there. Good for you. I'm gonna let people know that you exist over there. That's a very light but very powerful also. Uh, I reference people. I weave them into my work when their work is relevant. There's just kind of like that, sort of like acquaintance friend. I think of it like different rings of trust, right? So there's like the people I admire, but they're acquaintances. And then there's people I spend more time with. I vet them, they vet me. We do a few tests together, and then we like, oh, our work really aligns together in some meaningful way. It enhances each other's work. But we still don't know each other that well. So let's do a little mini conversation, workshop, podcast, something to kind of spark and see. And for me, ultimately behind the scenes, and I make this overt, I'm looking for not just business relationships. All of my business relationships are based in friendship. So if this is just an interaction for you, it's not worth my time. If this is a transaction that has the beginnings of a friendship, then it's worth my time. And then it needs to evolve in its own time, in its own way. We can have an idea of something we want to do together, but it takes 4 years before we actually do it. but we're building a friendship the whole time. We're celebrating each other's work. We're asking about each other's kids. We're getting to know each other and trust each other, and maybe even have disagreements. And then the business, for me, the business is secondary. You know, it's like I'm trying to build more community in the world, and that's based on friendship. And the business part of it is how to make it sustainable. So yeah, we both need to feed our families. We both need to pay the rent or the mortgage. So when we do stuff together in the world to serve other people, let's get paid for it somehow, right? Let's make sure that we charge for that workshop. Or so we're thinking strategically in terms of what does our community want from us, need from us. There's that business awareness, but for me, the primary thing is friendship, reciprocity. Kind of counter to that religion, you know, instead of, I'm not trying to make other people be anything. So when we're together as potential partners, are we respecting our differences and celebrating how we see the world differently and add to each other? Or are we trying to make the other person fall in line with our culture? I spent a lot of time trying to, like you, Niiamah, I felt disappointed a few years ago when I was meeting a lot of, for example, men's leaders who had like amazing Instagram, you know, thousands of followers. And I get to know them. They're really wonderful people, but they were not reciprocal. They're scaling too fast and they're just taking. I would give to them. They wouldn't give anything back. I was like, I don't need that. You're a nice person, but I'm not here to feed you. That's not how friends treat each other either, right? Friends don't just come over to your house, eat all your food, say, you're great, thanks. And then you see them 2 weeks later and they do the same shit. So I'm learning to be discerning. Take my time, not rush, take it slow, do small little things together. It's got to be based on trust, reciprocity, and a mutual alignment. And that becomes apparent over time. If someone's trying to rush it, I feel like slowing things down, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it, David. It's getting me to think on my end here as well. And the component of there's a lot of tactical things, but I feel like it's also driven with let's really build a relationship behind this here, right? And what I think I'm getting about to is like if it, like that's one of your criteria. You have your criteria for collaboration, and one of them is like, are you interested in building a potential of a relationship, and then are you showing up in alignment with that? Even if it takes 4 years for this relationship to really be like something huge, then great, I'm down for that. But like if this is just gonna be a series of taking and such, like we're good. There's other things to go. It's a really cool thing. You also said something that hit me like, oof, right? If I'm being really honest with you, right? Which is scaling too fast, right? And I have a lot of things going on right now, and so I'm asking myself that question: Is it I'm like, how do I slow down? You know, and is this the time to slow down? I've been slow for a while. Now things are starting to pick up. Should I immediately go back to slow because like that's what I'm used to, or whatever, or is this like the time to lean into it? So there's no right here. I think Amber, you said no right, no wrong. So thanks for bringing that into space. But I appreciate that you already given me something to think through. Candy, Amber, what about what David said is getting your brain moving? And if there's something somewhere else you want to take the conversation, take it. Amber, I see you unmuted, so why don't we go to you?
Yeah, so it's kind of about when you were talking about, David, respecting differences. And I was thinking as well at the same time about a time where I've collaborated recently, and I'm kind of coagulating the 2 points together there. So I've been thinking if I'm to collaborate as an artist, there are lots of ways that I can do this, and one way is through a collaborative artwork. So recently, about a month ago, I did a collaborative artwork with a 10-year-old artist, and he's absolutely spectacular. To say he's only 10 years old, he's got the creative skills, I would say, of a 40-year-old. And he's called Jude, and Jude is colorblind, so he works in a monochromatic black and white palette, because in this way he kind of sees the most contrast of colors. And he also works with formulaic geometric lines. So it's completely the opposite to me, on the other hand, who is kind of, I work expressively, fluidly, lots of vibrant colors. And I'm super interested in the space between opposites and extremities. And immediately when I saw his work, I thought it's going to be fascinating to co-create and collaborate with Jude and see what we can make together. And it was super magical, but it was also super challenging because our techniques and processes are so different. So really what we had to do how we did it was we had to respect each other's differences, otherwise it wouldn't have worked. I had to respect what he was doing and his way of working, and he had to respect mine, and fuse them together, make space for each other. And the result of this artwork was just absolutely magical. And it generated a lot of interest as well. So that's brilliant.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm feeling like the component of like being open to the opposite. Like that's one of the things I really like. Um, I think it's an opportunity for us as outliers to be able to like not just do more of the same. Like a lot of times people come into this space, they're like, "Wow, it's really great talking to like-minded people." I'm like, "Oh no, I failed you," and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm actually looking for different-minded but like-hearted people here," and I'm hearing that with you, Amber, where you're like, "All right, we're both artists. We are out here creating." I'm like, "What? How would it be like for us to create in a way that is so different from the way we would normally do it?" So thanks for bringing that in.
Of course.
So Candy, how about you? What's coming up for you on this one? And if nothing's there, then you can let it go. But I'm curious what's showing up for you.
Now, I appreciate, wait a minute. There we go. I appreciated what David said about, becoming a family, or, being on one accord or an alignment with one another. Because even as a corrections officer, I didn't go into the position as a corrections officer. I went into the position as auntie. I was working with juveniles, and when I would enter the building, aunties in the building, it seemed like now what was chaotic now becomes at peace, because why? Aunties in the building, I created an energy that when I come into the building, the kids behave differently. And it adds to what David said in regards to an alignment, energetic alignment. I may be this type of energy and you may be that type of energy. We have to balance out our energies when we're working together. I can't always be the dominant. I must know when to fall back into a follower's position and let the dominant take the lead. And I think sometimes when people collaborate, they can't come together and put their differences aside because they feel like they have to be the one in charge and they know everything, but they don't want to hear the other inputs that other people have to add to the situation. I like what David and Amber said. You have to come together on one accord and be one, setting your differences aside just so that the mission can be accomplished. And it gets done when you have that familiar feeling. You don't just want to work with somebody just because you have this idea. What about us coming together and blending our energies? So now the project looks like one mind, not a bunch of different other colors. Like when Amber was talking about being an abstract painter and it looking messy, it doesn't look messy because it looks cohesive. You got that cohesion.
Exactly that. Yeah. It's the organized mess. Like I was saying at the beginning of the podcast, like I'm an eaten mess. It's this organization and cohesion in the chaos of it. I agree.
Yeah, I get curious as you're all talking. I'm going to stay on this element of collaboration, and the reason I'm bringing it in here, it may not be collaboration, but it's working and creating in a world with others, right? And Candy, you're striking me right now when you talk. You said like mind your own business. That there's something about that line that like just keeps playing in the back of my head here. So there's probably two things. Yeah, I would like there's probably two things I want to go with it. Firstly, when you like I tend to hear that and I think, oh, mind your own business, as in like, stay to your side. But that's not what you mean at all. So I'm gonna mind like, would you mind helping us see what when you say mind your own business, what do you mean here? I think outliers would actually get getting a lot just from that like perspective.
If what If what someone else doesn't directly affect you, it's not your business. I'm not going to come to your house and tell you how to run your house. That's your house. That's not my place to say, oh, no, you should do this. No, that's not my business. You didn't come to me, so it's not my business. I'm not going to overstep my boundaries and give you advice that you didn't ask for. That's not my business. Now, if you come to me and say, hey, what should I do about this? That becomes my business. Now I'm invested in helping you figure out whatever it is you need to figure out. But I'm not going to overstep. I'm just going to mind my business until you ask me and make it a part of my business. That's pretty much how I see it. If what you eat don't make me poop,
Kenny. I love it. I love it. David, I saw you lead it in earlier before that statement, but I saw you lead it in. So like what to see what's popping off for you.
I like, I think the good example is what I said earlier about how I reached out to a few people and they were scaling too fast. This is my judgment, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is my perception that they were burning themselves out. I didn't mean to get into your business, Niiamah, that you're doing that or anybody else who's scaling is doing that. That was just my experience of me cautioning myself to not try to reach to build something when the soil doesn't have enough nutrients yet. I have a big garden with my wife, and it's like we're constantly teetering between biodiversity, 300, species of plants, and this little plot in downtown Toronto, and not make it a monocrop, but not plant too much that our soil can't sustain. And then, talking to neighbors, and as soon as a neighbor aligns, then we can expand our work together. We can grow more, they can grow more because we're collaborating. But then there's also that's their side of the fence, right? So I think collaboration can get messy. And so I think the guideline of mind your own business is a really beautiful way of, I think of it as being in integrity with your domain. You can influence and support someone else's domain, but don't cross the line in telling them how to do it or assuming you know what's best for them. I think that's where collaboration can get messy, but that's also, for me, that's also where it's a lot of richness lies, right at that boundary where we're both minding our business, but we're really influencing each other also, inspiring each other, encouraging, challenging each other. Yeah.
As you say this, it brings out a distinction for me. I love, like you talk about being like discerning, and as you're talking, I'm realizing as I'm hearing your thing, not from the lens of collaboration, but from the lens of like relationships. And I'm thinking about different outliers here. Like actually interesting, Candy. I'm thinking about how outliers can use that same thought of mind your own business to actually like be in better relationship with others. Right. I think there's a lot of like, I'll just speak here from my experience. A lot of outliers have a lot to offer into the world, but they hold that back because of either the lack of boundaries or like lack of wanting to hold, like to maintain or keep up those boundaries. So there's something in that statement that is like not just about, hey, you mind your own business, but also like a reminder to myself to like, hey, let me mind my business. Like if you're stepping into my business, like, don't worry, I got me. Like, if you're minding yours, I'll mind mine. We're good here. I'm seeing some head nods here. I want to like open up the conversation. What are y'all thinking? And Amber, like just unmute yourself because I know we can't see you right now. Just unmute yourself as needed and bring us. Why don't we start with you and then we'll go to Candy and David.
So what exactly are you?
Oh yeah. So what I'm saying is that if you have anything to say, just unmute yourself so I can see it.
Oh, of
Because
course.
'cause I'm not gonna get the other visual cues, so I want to make sure we're good.
Yes,
All right, cool,
that's
cool.
fine.
Awesome. Do you have anything you want to say on this part right now? If not, I'm going to go to Candy and David.
No, I'm fascinated. It's kind of a new topic for me, the thing about minding your own business, and no, I'm just enjoying listening and learning from all of you at the moment.
All right, we'll play with that. All right, y'all. Let's keep expanding. What else? What else? Like, what do you feeling with that, Candy, David? So right now, Candy, you are muted. Outliers. Candy has this great setup, her great audio setup. You could, but today, like we ended up like messing the whole thing up here just with our Amy. So she's actually doing some jujitsu, some acrobatics with all this. So jumping from one thing to the other. So just know where where that's coming from. All right, Candy. I would love to hear from
Exactly. Like I said, mind your business. My husband was in my business.
you.
He wasn't tending to his business. He started messing with my stuff and just took everything out of whack. But when you focus on you, because I think that's what life is all about. I don't see myself without seeing you. So when I look at you, I'm gonna mess your name up, but
Niiamah. Yeah.
Niiamah. When I
Yes.
look
I
at
love it.
Niiamah, I don't see Niiamah. I see a version of myself that I have yet to manifest because I'd like to one day just be full-fledged podcasting, but that's not where I am yet because I'm still building myself to the point where I can get to this point where I can do a podcast without what being seen because I have a thing with not being seen right now. I'm in hiding. I don't know why. I had a dream when I was younger where I was being born. And in that moment, I felt myself become afraid. And there was my uncle, my deceased uncle was sitting like on the third level between where I'd come from and where I was. And I said to him, I need you to go back and get my car. I lost my car. And he said, no, you can't hide. You're going to be seen. The world is going to know who you are. And I think that petrified me because I literally have an issue with going and being seen. I'm talking to you guys now because I prepared myself mentally for this. If you hadn't given me the amount of time that you gave me to do this, I'd have probably chickened down. It's like, nope, not doing it. Because in my mind, it's like, oh, you're going to be seen. The world going to see you. And I'm still afraid of the world seeing me. Although I'm an extrovert, because when I get dressed to leave the house, I want to be seen, but I don't want to be bothered. That's the dynamics between me. I am black and white. I am yin and yang, and I'm trying to bring that energy to unification within myself. I can't teach somebody else how to unify themselves if I'm still in the process of learning how to unify myself. So that's what I say when I mind my business. I'm over here minding my business because I got my own issues.
I appreciate you, Candy. I have some things I want to say to that, but first I want to go to David and just see what you. And it could be something direct or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, go with it.
I appreciate how you took us far and wide there, Candy. I loved it. I'm just gonna add my kind of flavor to that. About 6.5 years ago, I had cancer, and for me, minding my own business was about respecting my limits. I was trying to, I was running programs that were expanding and growing all over Canada, and people I got aligned with were like got the dollar signs in their eyes and the more people, more money, more reach, more impact, more. It was like this hunger that never satiated, and that's when I got cancer, ironically. And my friend, who's a doctor, said to me, "You know what cancer is? It's not really a bad cell. It's just a cell that doesn't respect limits." And it keeps infecting the other cells with this virus of you can keep growing. You don't have to stop. And if something gets in your way, gobble it up and keep going. And I thought about that's a little bit how our society is. That's a little bit how I was raised to, if I got an A, my dad would say, "Why didn't you get an A plus?" If I did something well, why couldn't I do more? There was never a satisfaction with the garden itself. And so having cancer just gave me a sense of, well, I'm going to die one day, sooner or later. And there's only so much time in the day, and there's only so many people in my life that I could actually spend time with, right? There's natural limits. And that's where it kind of hit home, that idea that you're speaking to so passionately about, mind my own business so that I can show up more fully with the people that matter the most, the clients that I love the most, my family that I cherish the most. If it's 1,000 people, or if it's 5 people, or if it's one person, you know, how can I mind myself in a way so that I'm fully present for them? I'm not divided, scattered, running from one thing to the next without a breath. So your mantra really touches me. I hope you put it in your business somewhere. Like, it's like, yes. And people talk about boundaries all the time in my industry, mental health, but mind your own business is so much more direct and evocative. Yeah.
I like, wait, I like the fact that cancer was your teacher.
Yeah.
Cancer taught you how to take a minute and breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. You literally learned, wait a minute, I'm moving too fast. My body just told me I'm doing too much. A lot of people don't take lessons like that, like you did. You literally learned, hold on, this is too much. My body has given me a signal that I'm doing too much. Most times people have to have that type of reckoning in order for them to actually see, hold on, I'm not who I think I am. I'm doing too much. I've been looking outside of myself, trying to prove myself to everybody, but I forgot about me. My stepmother, she has cancer, and every time she forgets who she is, cancer comes back. Every time she gives too much of herself to somebody else or other people, the cancer comes back as a reminder. You're not loving yourself. You must first put yourself first, because without you, nothing else works. Everything starts from within. If your inside world is chaotic, guess what? Your outside world is going to be chaotic. That's what the universal law of mentalism says. Your thoughts create your reality. If you think you're nothing, you're going to continuously prove to yourself you're nothing, because the world is going to reflect back to you the nothingness that you see within yourself. The world showed you that it was moving too fast. You went inside because cancer made you go inside and shut down and begin to put yourself first and see things as it's supposed to be. Me first, and then the rest of the world, because I can't help you if I'm dead. That's why you put on your oxygen mask first and then help everybody else. Good job, Cancer. Cancer taught you and you learn, and you'll probably never have that experience again, because I find that in life, when we have experiences, they teach us, they don't define us. They refine us, they don't define us. And some people get lost in the definition of a situation. This happened to me and this is who I am. No, that was a refining moment, not a defining moment.
Thank you for that, Candy. Yeah, David, like we're gonna start wrapping up the conversation here. But is there anything else you want to say to that before we move on?
Good.
I feel good.
I just want to quickly say to David as well, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing that story with us. And Candy as well. I just want to say as well that you've really deeply inspired me with your expression of your intellect and how you articulate your mindset. It's just absolutely incredible. And I'm actually resonating with everything you're saying. So I started a podcast a few years ago, and it was kind of under the realm of self-help, and I was sharing advice on how to evolve emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially even. But behind the scenes, I was struggling severely with my own issues, severe mental health issues, and recovering from trauma. And I'm a carer for my dad who has schizophrenia, so I was having to deal with all of these things behind the scenes. And it's like everyone has been saying, it's that offering guidance to other people, or you know, when really you're barely holding it together for yourself, and you're not considering yourself, which I wasn't. So I realized I had to step back and mind my own business in that sense as well, and focus on my own healing before I could genuinely offer it to other people as well. So I resonate with what everyone is saying there.
I'm in deep resonance here. There's so much that's taken place, and I can't believe it. That like we've gone through a lot of time together already. There's more to expand in this conversation, and I'm glad you gave us a chance to see you. What I want to do here is give Outliers a chance to continue down the journey with you. And David, I'm going to start off with you. The way that I like to end each conversation is to just share an insight that you got from this conversation. What's something that you are walking away with? How did you change from how you came into this conversation, how you're leaving now? And then let Outliers know how they can best follow best go down the journey with you, deepen the relationship with you.
Oh, there's just like a cornucopia here. I'll sort of point out one for each of you. Niiamah, I love the gracious and very clear way that you're holding this conversation. I think it's rare for people who've just met to have rich, deep conversations like this in a group format online. You're really tending the space beautifully. Amber, I'm really taking away from you this idea of being willing to work with someone who's the opposite, to work with contrast, to step completely 180 around our way of seeing the world, to see it through someone else's eyes who's radically different, and to be excited and celebrating that contrast. And Candy, there's like the past doesn't define us. It can refine us if we learn the lesson, if we're willing. And to mind your own business. I'm going to be thinking about that for a while. I'm just going to print a t-shirt with that. I hope you do one day. Yeah, I'm taking all of that. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And how can we stay in your world, David?
You can find me at powerfulandloving.com. It's a community for men inspired by Martin Luther King's words, power without love is reckless and abusive, and love without power is sentimental and anemic. And we're trying to be powerful and loving. We're doing our best. We're always learning.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you for bringing that here.
Thank you, guys.
Mhm.
Been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Glad to have you. We'll go over to Candy now. Candy, can you share an insight that you've had today, and then how we can best go deeper on the journey with you?
Uh, the insight that I've learned today is I can do it. I can literally talk to strangers that I don't have a connection with and be okay. Like I said, this was going to be a challenge for me, but I mentally prepared myself. And as long as I got time to prepare myself mentally. I love the fact that Amber brought in the contrast of the differences, because that's exactly who I am. That's where I am in my life right now, dealing with the polarities within myself. But the beautiful part about polarities is transmutable. It's not one of those definitive laws that you can't change. You definitely can change the differences between yourself. And right now, like I said, I'm in the process of joining the two sides of myself, my dark and my light, and becoming that one tree, the tree of life, manifesting in both darkness and in light. So I appreciate you for giving me this opportunity to allow myself to see myself, to prove to myself that I do have the ability to do a podcast and be seen and be okay with it. I will not combust, fall apart, none of that. I'll be okay. So I appreciate you. And the way you can find me is at churchoftheinfinitelight.org, and on social media, I think I'm on all platforms, but I'm under Sisterly Advice, because that's pretty much what I do.
Nice. Candy, I want to say thank you to you, Amber. I'm going to come to you just one second. I want to say thank you to you for showing up and being real about this moment. Because I like when you said that, like, oh, I'm not like being seen, is something there. I was like, whoa, would not have expected that. And so I appreciate you being real, because a lot of times we compare how we feel on the inside, or like with how others, like how we feel on the inside with how others look on the outside. And I just appreciate you letting us see what it's like inside of you as well, because it really struck home. So thank you, Candy. And then Amber, why don't you bring us home here? Let us know about an insight you got, and then how we can continue down getting to know you.
Oh, yeah. So I'd say this podcast, this opportunity, it's been really powerful for me, because as an artist, or you could say a creative as well, extending to a creative in general, we have this tendency to isolate ourselves, and actually we struggle to outsource with other people and build a community, build connections, if we're just kind of creating in the isolation of our own bedrooms. And so having this opportunity to share with people and pushing my boundaries, and like you're saying as well, Candy, knowing that I can actually do it and I'm not gonna implode, it's actually fine. That's lovely as well. And I'm really thankful that it's been with this intimate community of I'd say you're all really advanced in your journeys, and I think compared to the three of you, I'm more at the beginning of my journey, so it's been really insightful for me, and inspirational. So thank you. And you can find my artwork on Instagram, that's where I predominantly am, and my handle there is Amber Sykes Art.
Perfect. Well, I really appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for making this time. Thank you for living the life that you live. And just know that until the next time we talk, please continue to be you on purpose. Journey on.